Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are gonna finish the bumper. We are here at Cynical Fabrication with Brandon in Banning, California. So if you guys need some help with some custom fabrication, I definitely recommend this guy. Let me go ahead and show you what I wanna do. So what I wanna do for this is I wanna do like a bull bar that goes across, and then off of that, we're gonna go off to the side with some tubing, and then from the bottom as well. It's gonna look different than regular detail bumpers, but we'll see what we come up with. So right there, you're just measuring the angle of the bull bar?
Yeah, just mocking it up.
What size is this steel, if you don't mind me asking?
1.75 inches.
1.75 inches?
Yeah.
And right now, you're gonna bend it?
Yep.
So right now, you're mocking up the bull bar, correct?
Yeah, just get it to fit all right.
Make sure it's good, and then build off of that later. Now that we have the bull bar in place, we're gonna do some side pieces as well, just because I want to. And this is somewhat what it's gonna look like. And then have a support on the bottom as well. But I just want it so that I can take out the headlights. That's like my biggest thing, but it's coming out really good. This is where it's gonna attach to the bumper on the bull bar. And now here is the outer edge. These are gonna get capped. So that's what he's cutting out right now. Cut it out on this thing. Good for the camera, huh?
Nervous, dude.
So we got the sides pretty much in place where we want them. And now we're working on the piece, the support piece there. That's it right there, huh? Almost.
Yep.
That's looking good. And this is what the back of the bumper looks like if you're curious. Kind of hard to take off because of the nuts on here, but I'm gonna upgrade them. They have nylon, so I'm gonna put a regular nut with a lock washer. That way it's easier to take off if I need to. All right, so what do you guys think? This is the finished product. We ended up welding some mounts on top here so I could put the LED bar that I have from last fit, but I mean, it's looking badass now. So I definitely need to cut the sides right here just so it doesn't look ugly. And that way the bumper, I feel like, will stand out more. But damn, this is sick. So yeah, that's it. Huge shout out to Cynical Fabrication. They're in Banning, California. So if you guys want to hit them up, I'll have them linked down below. Definitely does sick work. Like, he's working on those things back there. And this is his personal project right here, which is insane. Like, this is a huge piece of aluminum, and put the bends in here. I don't know. This is amazing work. All right, so now that it's on, what do you think about the bumper, Chris?
This?
Yeah. Looks mint?
Looks mint.
Mint. So now that we have it all welded up, it is time to paint it, and this is what I'm gonna use. I've used this before. It does really well. I had it on my last bumper, and I'm gonna show you some tips on how to get the best coat on the bumper. This doesn't leave a super coarse finish on it like other bed liners do, which I like. Depending on how far away you spray, you can actually adjust how much texture there is on the bumper. So I'll show you guys once I do it. And we're also gonna clock the winch, since you guys recommended that I can do that. You take off the bolts on the side and move it over, and that'll be perfect right here in the front. And I can still have my grill without cutting it because I have something dope going there. And yeah, so let's go ahead and take it off and get it prepped for paint. It definitely helps to have a computer chair to hold up the bumper while you're taking it off if you're doing it with one person. I have a question for you guys though. This shroud was underneath the radiator. Do I need that or not? Because I'm just gonna leave it off for now, but if you guys tell me I need that, I'll put it back on. We're here now. We're gonna take off the bumper, do a quick sand. First coat is about to go on. You're gonna want to dip the can into some hot water for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then shake it up vigorously until you hear that ball moving. Another thing is, after each coat, you are gonna wanna clean that tip. So I took the needle and I would clean that out, take it off, throw some alcohol down there. Make sure that this piece is clean every time you use it. We're using our paint stand right here. All right, so this is first coat going on. Oh, what the hell? You get a lot of coverage. You're gonna wanna do a light coat on the first one. Like, if you see it's not going all the way through, that's fine. Just keep going. Just make sure you get all the surfaces, but not a thick coat. And some areas are kind of hard to get into. It's okay if I get runs there. Yeah, if you do a thick coat, you risk getting runs. So I recommend just taking it easy. Do a couple of thin coats. All right, so we got the first coat on there. I'm gonna take off the tip, clean it, get ready for the second coat. And you're not gonna notice much texture now. The texture you pretty much add at the end. And you kind of wanna do like the paint far away. I'll show you guys. What I mean, do it far away, that way it leaves a bigger splatter on there. But that's it for the first coat. We took out the windshield washer fluid reservoir because we are going to trim this, and just to have it out of the way, that thing's way too big. We're going to have to do the ZJ mod, so be on the lookout for that. But now we can actually cut this. And I was going to cut it all the way initially, but I kind of want to save this bolt so we can use it still. And the way that the bumper is, it'll pretty much have it all covered up. So that's what we're going to go with. And then out here, cut all that. Pretty much just leaving enough for the fender to hold on. So we got this piece cut out. We tried to leave spots that are like mounted on there. So like the fender mounts onto this piece. So we left the spot welds here just for rigidity to the fender. And then on this piece here, we did an angle. Since my bumper is at an angle, the tube is pretty much gonna hide it, so you won't be able to see it anyways. But then that's what it looks like for the front. It came out really well, and I don't think I should have any issue hitting. I might hit here potentially, but if it does, then we'll end up trimming it some more. And then for these, I am gonna trim them up. I do want to leave them in there. If you don't, you will potentially get mud all up in your fender and where that door is in the rear. So I do want to keep them in just to keep everything in here clean as much as I can. So we did a second coat, and as you can see, it's starting to get a little bit more filled in. You don't see any more of the metal too much, just some areas. So we're gonna do a third coat. The fourth coat, we're gonna do like the texture part of it, because right now it doesn't really have much texture. So let's go ahead and do number 3. So I ended up buying another can, but as you can see, it's pretty much done. There's a couple areas. Let me find one where the metal's still showing, kind of like right there. So I had to hit that. On this part, I kind of messed up. I didn't test the can, I just sprayed it straight on. And as you can see, sprayed on a lot of like particles. So I'm gonna try to hide that with the texture. What I do is when I first paint it, I'm like 6 inches away, 8 inches. And for this one, I'm gonna go a little bit further and let it like drop on there. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see what I mean. This is what you want to do. This will give it more texture. I mean, you can already start seeing it. It'll level out as well once it starts drying, but this is what I found as the best technique to texture it. So I'm about like 12 inches. What do you say, Chris? Like a foot and a half. And you can see like the little wet spots. That's what's gonna give you the texture. And this is kind of like trial and error. Once you do it, you'll see what I'm talking about. I know it's stupid, but like I said, this is what I found works best. Chris is probably making fun of me for spray painting like that. No. But that's how you give it texture, man. And the rest of it's pretty much coated, so I'm not gonna hit it unless I see any spots. But I think it's good. Maybe up here. These are kind of hard to get. Well, that's pretty much it. It's getting that texture and pretty much good to go. We're gonna let it dry for an hour before we put it on. So it's starting to dry up now. It's been probably like 20 minutes, and you can see there's a lot more texture. Don't touch it.
Oh, I'm gonna touch it.
Not ready yet. But there's a lot more texture now, and that's the way you do it. It doesn't look bad for spray paint. It looks really good, honestly. Like I said, I've used this before. This stuff is actually pretty good. And this is where I messed up. Not bad though, not bad. All right, so I ended up cutting the plastic here. I cut it, trimmed it so I can self-tap it here. You won't be able to see it, and then it has that one mount over there as well. And for the radiator support, we're not gonna put it on yet because I haven't painted it yet. So this video is not gonna show that, but pretty simple to do. All you have to do is cut off the bottom support of the radiator. Usually follow this line, and this thing's gonna bolt up under here directly with your bumper. So it's gonna be like sandwich. This will be on the bottom, the bumper right here, underneath the frame rail, and then on the inside you get those other pieces to sandwich it all together. And when you do that, also make sure to keep the rubber pieces, make sure that they're still on here. And that's pretty much it. We're not gonna do it on the video like I said, but it's simple to do. So for the horn, what I did is I'm gonna trim this little piece here, but I just put one of them in. There's 2 of them usually. Just put one of them in, zip tie the wires. Hopefully the wheel doesn't get it. We'll test it out. If it does, we might just turn this up. That way this is up top. But I mean, so far so good. It works. I think we're ready to put the bumper on. What do you think?
Let's get it done.
Good to go?
Let's get her done.
Get her done. All right, so there it is. It's being held up still by the chair, but I mean, the sides don't look too bad. I kind of don't like how it looks right here, but it's not a big deal.
Spray painted black, you won't see it.
No, that looks clean though. It looks really good. Let's go. we are going to clock this, and the way that you do it on this winch is you're going to take off the 2 bolts up top here. It's going to come off, and then from the inside is how you clock this lever. So I'm going to go ahead and take it apart and show you the inside. All right, so we got this piece off. Here, Chris, you hold the camera.
All right. Hey, watch this, guys. Shaky hands.
Shaky hands over here. Then we're going to lift this up a little and just pull this piece out. Ow. This piece we're going to stick back in there just to hold it. All right, so this is where you're going to adjust it. Take these off. So originally it was right here, and I moved it over so it lines up with this side here. That gives me enough clearance with the bumper and the grill. I saw another video where the guy said you can only do 90 degrees, but no, you can't. The holes line up. You can do pretty much in inch increments, I guess. Yeah. That's good for me. We're gonna tighten this back up, put all the bolts in here, and only 2 hold it up on top of this. Pretty simple to do. When you put this side back in, make sure this rod right here is inside the hole on the inside. It has flat sides, so just make sure that you're not jamming it in there, that it fits in smoothly. So now we're gonna go ahead and put this back together. And also be careful with the paper gaskets because they can rip. Okay, so the rod, I recommend putting into this piece first and then sliding it into the winch. It helps to have someone there to like hold the winch up as you're sliding it. But that's pretty much it. Back together, got the lever on the side here, and we are gonna put in the 2 bolts. For these side bolts, what I did, because if you use the nylon nuts that are provided by D Till, it's really hard to tighten them up since there is no room there. So what I did is the hole, I just put the bolt in like that much, right? And then I slipped the washer on it, pushed it out a little bit more. I put a lock washer on it. The kit provides you one of these nuts with the nylon, which it gets stuck like right away, and you need to put a wrench in there to tighten it up. So what I did is I took one of these, just regular ones, slid it in there, and since it has the lock washer, it's gonna hold it in place. So I tightened it up all the way. This isn't the right bolt, but I tightened it up all the way I can with my hands, impact on the outside, and that lock washer holds the nut in place and it just tightens up. So just a little tip for you guys. There's also 2 of these bolts that go all the way in the back of the bumper. Kind of hard to show you, but all the way back there in the hole. The nut might have some dirt in there, so it might be a little bit hard to get these in, but they are the bolts for it. All right, so we got the winch on now. This thing's clocked out of the way of the grill. Perfect location right there, easy to access. And yeah, so the next video you'll see me wiring this up. I'm actually going to extend the wires into the engine bay because I don't want to cut the grill and that piece that goes on top here. I'm just going to relocate. Something you want to be careful on is I scratched my bumper up from the back a lot putting this panel on. So I recommend putting this panel on before putting the bumper in because it is a pain. So we got the grill in. We did some touch-ups because as we were putting the header panel in, it got scratched up on the piece right here. So we should have put the header panel in first, but we didn't. We like living the hard life. Anyways, we got it on. Just got to tighten these up and put the headlights in and we'll be good to go. So this is the finished product right here. We ended up using the D Till bumpers, the stubby bumper, and then we started with the bull bar. I didn't want a stinger. I wanted something smaller than that. The bull bar, and I wanted to put the light bar underneath. The last one I really like, so I really wanted to keep it on here. And we welded some tabs, welded the sides up. I didn't go all the way, so in case I trim the fenders, but that's pretty much it. I had to move because there's a car coming, but like I said, we built the bull bar first, got that angle. I mean, you guys saw the video. And we went on this side and then added the bottom piece too. And this is with that spray paint bumper, the bed liner. It doesn't have a super rough texture, but it does have a texture. You could definitely see it and feel it, and it covers really well. Like I said, I didn't go all the way just in case I trim the fenders. It'll be down to there, and I don't think the tire should hook onto this. I also did want this to stay pretty close to the Jeep, which it does, as you can tell. It doesn't really stick out much. We got the OpenRoad Winch clocked. Thank you guys for the suggestion. It is out of the way. This is just temporary. I'm going to route it somewhere else, but the lever is out of the way. I don't have to cut the grill anymore, and I have something special planned for that. I think this weekend we'll get it done since it's warm enough. You guys are going to love it. I hope it comes out good. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the bumper. It's kind of like a pre-runner style bumper. If you look at it from the front, it's like goes across all the way. So I really like that. Pretty open. Still got to add the radiator support. That'll probably be this weekend too. I do have to paint it, but that'll complete it pretty much. So this is technically part 2, and there will be a part 3 where we wire the winch in the engine bay. We're gonna extend the wires. I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. Pretty simple to do, not that hard. And the reason we're doing that is because I don't want to trim the grill, and I didn't really see anywhere else where the OpenRoad box would fit. Someone said underneath the headlight, it's way too big for that. It has some nut inserts on the bottom, so we can make a plate and mount it inside the engine bay, which is what we're gonna do. And then finally, we will test the winch out. That's something I really want to do. I've never used the winch myself, so I'm definitely excited to learn on this one here. And if you guys have any suggestions for the winch, leave down below, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace. Before I leave, check this out. All that snow from all the recent rain, everything's green. If you guys have watched other of my videos, you can tell that this is usually dry, super yellow, and all the rain's been helping out a lot recently, so that's pretty dope.